7 years ago, the girl I loved the most in this world left me. No explanation, no goodbye, just one sentence. You deserve a better life. And then she disappeared from mine. For 7 years, I kept telling myself she left because she found someone better, someone more successful than I was back then, someone who could give her the life I couldn't. And I tried to accept that. Or at least, I tried to convince myself that I had, until one day, I saw her again. Not in a romantic place, not at a party, but in a hospital. She was crying, standing at the billing counter, her hands trembling as she held the invoice. And then I heard her say something that felt like my heart was being crushed. Please, just give me a little more time. Please don't stop my mom's treatment. I was standing just a few feet away. She didn't see me, but I recognized her instantly. Claire, the girl I fell in love with when I was 16, the girl I never truly forgot. What hurt the most was seeing her like that. She looked so different from the girl in my memories. Back then, Claire was full of life. She laughed all the time. Her eyes were always shining. But now, she looked thinner. Her shoulders slightly hunched, her eyes exhausted, like life had taken too much from her. When she walked away from the counter, I turned around. Not because I didn't want to see her, but because I knew if she saw me in that moment, she would feel ashamed. And the last thing I would ever want is to make her feel ashamed. That night, I came back to the hospital, but this time, I didn't walk in through the front door. One of the strangest things about life is that sometimes you can change someone's life without them ever knowing. I was sitting in the hospital director's office. In front of me was Claire's mother's medical file. Treatment costs, medication, surgery, special care. The final number was far beyond what an average person could ever afford. I want all of this paid, I said. The director looked at me, then asked the question I had already expected. Do you want the patient to know who's helping? I shook my head. No, she doesn't need to know. He studied me for a moment. Maybe he had seen cases like this before. Eventually, he nodded. We'll say it's from a support fund. Okay. I stood up and left the hospital. But that was only the beginning. In the weeks that followed, I did more than that. I paid her rent, but not directly. I bought the apartment through a company and had the landlord lower the rent. I paid off part of her debts, but as anonymous write-offs. Every time I did something like that, I asked myself one question. If Claire knew, how would she react? But then I remembered something. The Claire I knew at 16 never liked receiving help she couldn't repay. So I kept it a secret. But the strangest part was that every time I helped her, I was reminded of all the times she helped me. Because before I became who I am today, I was just an ordinary guy. Actually, there were times I thought I was useless. And Claire was the only person who truly believed in me back then. Flashback when we were 16. I still remember the first time we met. It was in the school library. I was trying to shove way too many books into my backpack, and they all fell onto the floor. A voice behind me said, "Looks like you're trying to take the whole library home." I turned around, and there she was, Claire. She crouched down to help me pick up the books. Sunlight from the window fell across her hair, and I remember thinking, that was probably the most beautiful smile I had ever seen. After that day, we started talking, then studying together, then having lunch together, and eventually, everyone at school started teasing us. One of my friends once said, "Everyone here knows you two are going to end up together." And he was right. But what made Claire special wasn't just that she was pretty, it was that she was genuinely kind. One time, I failed a math exam. I was embarrassed. I felt stupid. But Claire just smiled. "You're not stupid," she said. "You just haven't learned the right way yet." For the next 3 weeks, she sat next to me every day after school, going through every problem, step by step, until I took the test again, and that time, I passed. When I thanked her, she just shrugged. That's what friends do. Another time, I ran out of money. My family was struggling back then. I couldn't even afford lunch. Claire noticed, and the next day, she handed me an envelope. There was money inside. I knew it was her savings. "You have to pay me back," I said. She just smiled. "You don't have to. When you become successful, just buy me a milk tea." I remember another afternoon, I was feeling completely lost. I told Claire I didn't think I'd ever do anything meaningful in my life. She looked at me seriously, then said something I never forgot. "You're going to do more than you think. You just don't see it yet." 7 years later, standing in my office, looking down from the city from the 40th floor, I still remember those words. What I didn't know back then was that my life was about to change, and Claire was about to leave me. The breakup with no explanation. Those last years of high school were probably the happiest time of my youth. Claire and I did almost everything together. We were in the same class. We had lunch together. We even worked part-time together during the summer. There were afternoons after school when we would sit on the steps behind the library, a place almost no one ever went. Claire would usually bring a book, and me, I would just sit there, watching her read. One time, she asked me, "Don't you get bored just sitting there watching me read?" I smiled. "No, because you look really cute when you read." Claire threw her pen at me, but she was smiling too. There were evenings when we rode our bikes home together. That road was lined with trees. In the fall, leaves covered the ground. Claire would ride a little ahead of me, then turn back and say, "Hurry up, you ride like an old man." I always pretended to speed up to catch her, but the truth was, I just wanted that road to be a little longer, so I could stay with her a little more. At school, everyone knew we were a couple. Even the teachers teased us. One time, our history teacher looked at us and said, "If you two don't get married someday, I'll be very surprised." The whole class laughed. Claire blushed, and I just smiled, because deep down, I truly believed that one day I would marry her. But life rarely goes the way we imagine. Things started to change when we were 20. We had both started college. We weren't at the same school anymore, but we still saw each other almost every day. Until one night, Claire said she wanted to meet me. Her voice on the phone sounded different, not like usual. We met at the park we always went to. There was a bench facing the lake. We had sat there many times before, but that night, everything felt different. Claire sat quietly, her hands clasped together, like she was trying to gather the courage to say something. I asked, "What's wrong?" She looked down for a long time, and then finally, she said it. "I think we should break up." I thought I heard her wrong. "What did you say?" She took a deep breath, then repeated it. "We should stop." The feeling in that moment was like someone had just pulled the ground out from under me. I didn't understand. Not at all. "What happened?" I asked. "Did I do something wrong?" She shook her head. "No, you didn't do anything wrong." That made it even harder to understand. Then why? She still wouldn't look at me. And then she said one sentence, a sentence I carried with me for 7 years. You deserve a better life. I laughed. A confused, almost helpless laugh. Claire, what does that even mean? You sound like you're in a movie. But she didn't laugh too. She stood up. Goodbye. I stood up immediately, grabbed her hand. Claire, look at me. She looked at me. Her eyes were already red, but she was trying to stay strong. Do you have someone else? I asked. That was the only thing that made sense to me at the time. She shook her head. No. Then why? I almost shouted. We're doing fine. We love each other. Then why? She didn't answer. She just repeated the same words. You deserve a better life. Then she turned and walked away. And this time, I couldn't stop her. I stood there for a long time, watching the path she disappeared into. I kept thinking maybe in a few minutes she'd come back. Maybe she was just upset. Maybe she just needed time. But she never came back. In the days after that, I tried calling her. No answer. I texted her. No reply. I went to her house. They had moved. Claire disappeared from my life like she had never existed. For months after that, I couldn't understand what had happened. I asked myself hundreds of times, what did I do wrong? What did I say that hurt her? But I never found an answer. And then, a thought slowly crept into my mind. A thought I didn't want to believe. Maybe Claire had met someone else. Someone better than me. Someone with a clear future. Someone who could give her the life I couldn't back then. That thought hurt more than anything else. But eventually, I started to accept it. Or at least I tried to. But there was one thing I could never do. I could never forget Claire. There were nights when I laid in my dorm room, staring at the ceiling, thinking about her. I missed her smile, her voice, the way she said my name. There were nights when I actually cried. Men don't say that often, but it's the truth. Because when you lose someone you thought would be with you for the rest of your life, that emptiness is not something you can easily fill. But life goes on. And in the years that followed, I began to change. What I didn't know back then was that 7 years later, I would see Claire again, in a place I never imagined. And this time, I would finally learn the truth about why she left me. 7 years without her. After Claire left, my life kept going, at least on the surface. I still went to school, still attended classes, still met up with friends. But a part of me felt like it had been left behind on that bench by the lake that night. The first few months after the breakup, I lived in a very strange state. I always had this feeling that Claire would come back, that one day my phone would vibrate and her name would appear on the screen. But that never happened. Slowly, I began to understand something. Claire was really gone. Time passed, my first year of college became busier, more assignments, more exams, and life started pulling me forward, whether I wanted it to or not. But there was one thing I never forgot. Something Claire once said, "You're going to do greater things than you think." At first, it was just a memory, a beautiful one, but over time, it became something else, a source of motivation. I remember one night during my second year of college. I was sitting in the library. In front of me was a pile of business materials. I had just failed an important exam. I felt like a complete failure. I remember putting my head down on the desk, thinking, maybe Claire was right to leave me. Maybe I'm really not good enough. But then I heard that familiar voice in my head. You're going to do greater things than you think. I lifted my head, looked around the library, and then I smiled. All right, I whispered to myself, let's see if that's true. That was the first night I stayed up all night to study. The years that followed weren't easy. In fact, they were much harder than I expected. I tried starting a small business with a few friends. We failed. Completely failed. We lost all our savings. We even ended up in a bit of debt. One friend gave up. Another chose a stable job. And me, I stayed. I don't know why. Maybe stubbornness. Or maybe I just didn't want Claire's words to be wrong. During those years, I did everything. Worked during the day, studied at night, tried new ideas, failed, then tried again. There were nights when I sat alone in a small room, the only light coming from my laptop screen, and I thought about Claire. I wondered if she could see me now, what would she say? Maybe she'd smile and say, "See, I told you so." That thought kept me going. And then, after years of trial and error, one of my ideas finally started to work. At first, it was small, an app, a small team, but gradually it grew. More users, more investment. I remember the first day our company had a real office, not a temporary rented room anymore, a real office. I stood there, looking out the window, and I thought about one thing. If Claire were here, she'd be really happy. 7 years passed faster than I expected. My company grew. I met many new people, partners, investors, employees. My life, from an ordinary student, slowly turned me into a fairly successful man. And with that change, something else changed too. Women started paying more attention to me. Some were very beautiful, some were very intelligent, some were incredibly successful. A few of them were clearly interested in me. My friends would often tease me, "You're 27 already, you should date someone." But I never truly felt anything. Not because they weren't good, in fact, many of them were amazing, but every time I tried to open my heart, I realized something. No one made me feel the way I did when I sat across from Claire in the library at 16. Maybe it sounds foolish, a grown man still thinking about his first love. But the truth is, some people enter your life and leave a mark too deep to erase. Claire was that person. 7 years later, I had become someone very different. More mature, more rational, even a bit cold. The business world taught me something. Not everyone is good. Not everyone is sincere. Some people are kind until interest gets involved. Some people can smile at you today and betray you tomorrow. After years of dealing with all kinds of people, I began to understand something. If I ever got married one day, that woman would have to be someone I could trust completely. Not just because of love, but because of her character. Someone truly kind, truly genuine, not fake, not two-faced. And sometimes I wonder, is the Claire I knew at 16 still that kind of person? I don't know, because in all those 7 years, I never saw her again. Until that day, the day I saw her standing at a hospital cashier, crying. The things she never knew. After seeing Claire at the hospital that day, I couldn't forget that image. She was standing at the payment counter, her hands trembling slightly, trying to stay composed while tears kept falling. That wasn't the Claire I used to know. The girl in my memories was always stronger than that, always the one who made others feel safe. But now, she seemed to be carrying far too much on her own. That night, I went back to the hospital. This time, I didn't just stand at a distance. I spoke with the hospital director, and then I paid all the immediate medical expenses for her mother. But I made one request. Please don't tell her it was me. The director asked, "Why?" I simply smiled. Because she won't accept it. The Claire I knew was not someone who would easily accept help, especially not from me, not after everything that had happened. But that was only the first step. In the weeks that followed, I started learning more about her current life, not to invade her privacy, but because I needed to know what she was going through. I found out that Claire was working 2 jobs at the same time. During the day, she worked in a small office. At night, she took a second job at a cafe. She barely had any time to rest. But even so, the money she earned still wasn't enough.
Her mother's medical bills, rent, old debts, all of it combined was too much for one person. I started helping her in different ways, but always indirectly. I bought the apartment she was renting through an intermediary company. Then I had the landlord reduce her rent by half. I bought a portion of her debt, then had the bank notify her that part of the debt had been forgiven under a support program. I funded a medical support program at the hospital, and that program began covering part of her mother's treatment costs. All of those things, Claire never knew. But what surprised me the most was what I saw while watching her from a distance. One evening, I was passing by the supermarket near her apartment. I saw Claire standing outside. She was talking to an older man. He was wearing worn-out clothes, gray hair, clearly a homeless man. Claire opened her wallet. There was almost nothing inside. I could tell even from where I was. But she still took out a few bills and handed them to him. The man bowed his head in gratitude. Claire just smiled, a very gentle smile. I sat in my car watching that scene, and suddenly a very old memory came back to me. A lunch break at school. I had no money for food. Claire noticed, and she gave me half of her sandwich. I remember saying, "But you need to eat too." Claire just shrugged. "You're hungrier." Seeing her outside that supermarket that night, I realized something. Maybe some people never really change. In the days that followed, I continued to watch her from afar. Not always intentionally, sometimes it just happened. One time, I saw her at the cafe where she worked. An elderly customer dropped his wallet. Claire picked it up and ran after him outside. She could have kept it, no one would have known, but she didn't. Another time, I saw her buying medicine for her mother. When she walked out of the pharmacy, she stood there for a long time, looking at the receipt. Then she sighed. I knew she was calculating, trying to figure out if the remaining money would be enough for the next week. Watching that, I remembered something Claire once told me when we were younger. I'm not afraid of hardship. I'm only afraid of becoming a bad person. Maybe that's why I couldn't turn my back on her. But after a while, Claire started to realize that something was changing. Her rent was reduced, the bank forgave part of her debt, the hospital covered part of the medical costs. One evening, she was talking on the phone with a friend. I happened to overhear it while passing by the cafe. "I don't understand what's going on anymore," Claire said. "It's like someone is helping me." Her friend must have said something. Claire shook her head. "No, it can't just be luck." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said softly, "I just don't know who would do something like this." I stood across the street hearing those words, and I wondered something. If Claire knew all of this came from me, how would she feel? Grateful, embarrassed, or angry? I didn't know. So I kept the secret. But what I didn't know was that just a few weeks later, something small would happen. Something completely accidental. And that very thing would lead Claire to start uncovering the truth. When she learned the truth, there are some truths people don't go searching for, but fate always finds a way to bring them into the light. One late afternoon, Claire was at the hospital visiting her mother. That day, her mom was sleeping peacefully. After months of treatment, her condition had finally stabilized, even if just a little. Claire sat beside the bed, holding her mother's hand. Her eyes were still tired, but there was a hint of relief now. She stood up, walking down the hallway to grab a cup of coffee. On her way back, she accidentally overheard two nurses talking near the pharmacy counter. One of them said, "The patient in room 307 is really lucky." The other asked, "You mean the mom of that girl who's always here crying?" "Yeah." I heard someone's been covering almost all of her medical bills. Claire stopped in her tracks. She thought she had misheard. Who is it? The other nurse asked. The first one lowered her voice. I heard from the doctor it's someone named Ethan. Claire froze. Ethan. Just a name, but it felt like something slammed hard against her chest. She stepped closer, her voice trembling. Excuse me. The two nurses turned to look at her. Claire tried to stay calm, but her voice was already shaking. The person you were just talking about, his name is Ethan? The nurses exchanged glances. One of them nodded. I think so. The doctor said he doesn't want his identity revealed. Claire couldn't hear anything after that. She took a step back, then another. Her mind went completely blank. Ethan. For 7 years, she hadn't dared to say that name, hadn't dared to look for him, hadn't dared to hold on to the memories for too long. And now, it suddenly appeared again, here, in the middle of her chaotic life. Claire returned to the hospital room, sitting beside her mother's bed. She covered her face with both hands, and for the first time in so long, she broke down. The tears wouldn't stop. They kept falling, again and again. Ethan, she whispered, her voice cracking. Is it really you? She shook her head, unable to believe it. All this time, the bills being paid, the debts disappearing, those unexpected moments of relief, all of it was him. Claire lowered her head, crying harder. Ethan. His name left her lips like an apology. Inside her mind, old memories came rushing back. A fall afternoon, we were 16, sitting side by side on a wooden bench behind our high school. I handed her a cheap bracelet, my face flushed. I thought it looked like you. Claire smiled. How does it look like me? Simple, but beautiful. She lightly hit my shoulder, but she wore that bracelet for years. Another memory, the school summer fair. Claire in a white dress running towards me, her hair dancing in the wind. You're late, she pouted. I handed her a cotton candy. I had to stand in line forever for this. Claire smiled brightly, as if in that moment, the whole world was just the two of us. Another memory, a time Claire got jealous, just because a girl in class asked me for help with homework. She crossed her arms, staring at me. You like her, don't you? I panicked. No. Claire turned away, but her ears had already turned red. Later, I had to buy her ice cream to make it up to her. Claire let out a soft laugh through her tears as she remembered. Those memories were so pure, it hurt. She hugged herself tightly, sobbing. Ethan, what have I done? 7 years ago, she was the one who left me. No explanation, no truth. She thought that by doing so, I would have a better life. But now, the one silently helping her through everything was me. Claire collapsed forward onto the bed, crying like a child. Ethan, you're such an idiot. You haven't changed at all. Still someone who always puts others first, even the one who walked away from him. She whispered, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But deep in her heart, Claire knew one thing. Maybe it was already too late. Because someone like me must have a completely different life now. Maybe he had someone else. Maybe he had forgotten her long ago. Claire wiped her tears, but they kept falling. She looked out the hospital window. The sky was slowly turning dark. Then she whispered, so soft it was almost nothing. Ethan, if you still remember me, I want to see you, just once. The reunion after 7 years. There are some reunions that are never planned, and yet they're powerful enough to shake an entire past. That afternoon, I was sitting in a cafe, a quiet place, upscale, warm lighting, soft piano music playing in the background. Across from me
was a female colleague. She was beautiful, elegant, smart, the kind of woman any man would notice. She was talking about a project. I was listening, but my mind wasn't fully there. I don't know why, but ever since that day at the hospital, I'd had this strange feeling, like something was about to happen. And then the cafe door opened. I didn't turn around right away, not until I heard a familiar voice, soft, shaking. Ethan. I froze. That name, in that voice, was something I hadn't heard in 7 years. I turned around, and I saw her. Claire stood there, near the entrance, her hands clenched tightly, her breathing uneven, her eyes already red. In that moment, every sound in the cafe seemed to disappear. There was only her. My heart pounded, so fast I could hear it. The colleague sitting across from me turned around too. She looked at Claire, then back at me. "Do you know her?" she asked softly. I didn't answer right away. I just stood up, my eyes never leaving Claire. "I'm sorry," I said to my colleague. "We'll talk later." I walked toward Claire. Each step felt heavy, like I was dragging 7 years behind me. When I stood in front of her, I realized something. She was thinner, more tired, but those eyes were still the same eyes of the 16-year-old girl I once knew. Claire looked at me, as if she couldn't believe this was real. "You," she said, her voice caught, but I didn't say anything. I looked at her for a second, then said quietly, "Come with me." Claire froze, but she didn't ask anything. She just nodded. We left the cafe. No conversation on the way, no eye contact, just silence. I drove, past familiar streets, past places we used to go together, and finally, I stopped the car. At a place we both knew. The old park. The place with that wooden bench. The place we used to sit for hours, doing nothing. Claire stepped out of the car, looked around. Her eyes trembled. "You still remember?" she whispered. I didn't answer. I just walked toward the old bench. It was still there. Older, faded, but still the same. Claire followed behind, slowly, as if each step was taking her back into the past. When we got close, she stopped. And then the tears started falling. She couldn't hold them back. She covered her mouth, but the sobs still broke through. "Ethan." I turned around, and that was the moment I couldn't keep my composure anymore. Claire stood there, crying, just like the day she left. The only difference was, this time, she didn't turn away. She walked toward me, one step, then another. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry." I stood still, didn't move closer, didn't step back. I just looked at her. Claire cried even harder. "I know now. I know everything. It was you." She shook her head over and over. "Why? After everything, why would you still do this for me?" I closed my eyes for a second, then opened them. "Because," I said slowly, "you once did the same for me." Claire froze. "Do you remember there was a 16-year-old boy who didn't even have money for lunch?" My voice grew lower. "There was a girl who shared half of her sandwich with him." Claire broke down even more. "There was a time he failed an exam and thought he was worthless. That night, someone sat beside him and told him he was meant for something greater." Her tears kept falling. I looked straight at her. "You asked why I helped you. Because you saved me when I had nothing." Claire couldn't stand anymore. She collapsed. I stepped forward, caught her. In that moment, the 7-year distance disappeared. She grabbed onto my shirt. "Ethan."
I thought you had someone else. I thought you forgot me. I let out a faint smile, a sad one. I thought the same. Claire looked up. I thought you had someone else. My voice lowered. I believed that for years. You know, I cried a lot. Claire went still. Everywhere I looked, I saw you. This bench, this road, even the small restaurants. You were in all of them. Claire burst into tears. Ethan. She wrapped her arms around me. For the first time in 7 years. I stood there. Didn't push her away right away. Not because I didn't want to, but because, inside me, there was still something. Love. And also, reason.
The moment Claire wrapped her arms around me, time seemed to stop. Her body trembled, not from the cold, but from emotion. I could feel every breath she took, fast, uneven, like she had been holding everything in for far too long, and now it was all breaking apart. At first, I just stood there, but then something inside me couldn't hold back anymore. I raised my arms and held her, gently, but enough to feel her. And in that moment, I realized something. This feeling was exactly the same as when I was 16. No calculation, no distance, no pride of a grown man. Just me and her. Claire held me tighter. I missed you, she said through her tears. Those words, so simple, but they made my chest tighten. I closed my eyes, just for a second. And suddenly, hundreds of memories rushed back. Afternoons after school, Claire pulling my hand, running across campus. The times we shared a meal, laughing over the smallest things. The moments she leaned her head on my shoulder, saying nothing, just silence, but understanding everything. All of it was still there. I opened my eyes, gently let her go. Not because I didn't want to hold her anymore, but because I knew. If I did, I would lose control. Claire looked at me, her eyes still red. You, she said softly. I looked straight at her, for the first time without avoiding her gaze. I want to ask you something. She nodded slightly. I took a breath. Why? My voice dropped. Why did you leave me? No softening, no going around it. That question, I had carried it for 7 years. Claire froze. Her eyes trembled. I continued, slow but clear. I don't want to guess anymore. I don't want to imagine things anymore. I want to hear it from you. The air around us grew still. Only the soft wind and the sound of our breathing remained. Claire lowered her head. A tear fell to the ground. Then another. Her voice was barely audible. I thought... She stopped. Couldn't continue. I didn't push. I just stood there, waiting. After a while, Claire looked up. I was scared. I was afraid I would drag you down with me. And then she started telling the truth. I listened, didn't interrupt, but inside me, nothing felt lighter. If anything, it hurt more. I let out a quiet laugh, not a happy one. You know, I would have rather struggled with you than be left behind like that. Claire broke down. I thought that was better for you. I shook my head. No. In love, no one gets to decide for the other person. My voice wasn't loud, but it was firm. In the hardest moments, that's when two people should stay together. Claire lowered her head, crying silently. After a while, we both calmed down. We sat on the old bench. The distance between us, not far, but not too close either, like two people, learning how to be next to each other again. I spoke first. How have you been lately? Such a simple question, but Claire gave a sad smile. Not great. She looked down at her hands. But I'm okay. I nodded. And you?
she asked. I thought for a second. I'm still here. Claire let out a soft laugh. That sounds like you, never giving a straight answer. I smiled too. A small moment, but enough to lighten the air. But then Claire fell silent. She looked at me for a long time. Ethan, can I ask you something? I nodded. She took a breath. The things that have been happening to me lately, that was you, wasn't it? I looked at her, didn't answer right away. I don't know what you're talking about, I said. Claire shook her head. No, the hospital bills, the rent, the debt. That can't just be a coincidence. She looked straight into my eyes. And that day, I heard your name. I stayed silent. Claire continued, her voice trembling. You think I wouldn't recognize it? The way you do things, it's still the same as before. Always in the background, never wanting anyone to know. Her eyes filled with tears. Only you would do something like that for me. I exhaled slowly. There was no point denying it anymore. I looked at her. Yeah, just one word, but it was enough. Claire immediately broke down. Ethan, why? After everything? I cut her off. I told you already. It's just paying you back. Claire shook her head. No, it's more than that. No one does this much just to repay a favor. I stayed silent. She was right, but I didn't say it out loud. Claire wiped her tears, then smiled. A sad smile. You haven't changed. You still don't say everything you feel. I looked at her. Some things don't need to be said. Silence fell again, but this time it wasn't heavy. It was familiar, like 7 years ago. Claire looked out at the lake. Do you remember that spot over there? That's where you told me you liked me. I smiled faintly. I remember. Claire turned to me. I do too. A soft breeze passed by. Neither of us said anything else, but we both understood. The past was still there, and the present was standing right in front of us. But the future, neither of us dared to reach for it yet.
After that conversation, we didn't say much more. Not because there was nothing left to say, but because there were too many things that couldn't yet be put into words. The sky grew darker, the lights in the park slowly turned on. Claire sat beside me, quiet, and I looked out at the lake. The surface was still, but underneath, there were countless currents, just like how I felt. I knew if I were still 16, I would have reached for her hand. No hesitation, no second thoughts. But now, I'm a 27-year-old man. I've been through too much, met too many people, and I understand one thing. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice, a responsibility. It's placing your life into someone else's hands, and I can't afford to choose wrong again. I stood up. I'll take you home. Claire looked at me, just for a second, then nodded. On the way, we stayed silent. It wasn't uncomfortable, but it wasn't light anymore either. There was an invisible distance between us now. When the car stopped in front of her apartment building, Claire didn't get out right away. She sat there, her hands intertwined, as if she was waiting for something. Maybe a sentence, a clear answer. What are we? I knew it, but I didn't say anything. I just looked straight ahead. Get some rest. Such a normal sentence, but also so cold. Claire gave a small smile, a sad one. Okay. She opened the door, but before stepping out, she turned back to look at me. That look, I understood it. It was asking, what about us? But I stayed silent because I wasn't ready to answer. Claire stepped out of the car, closed the door. I watched her walk into the building,
until she disappeared. I was still sitting there, didn't drive away right away. I let out a long breath. Inside me, there was a sentence, "I want to love you again." But I didn't say it. Not because I didn't want to, but because I needed to be sure that the girl standing in front of me was still Claire from back then. A few days later, Claire returned to her life, but something had changed. She started to notice the distance between us. Not emotional distance, but life itself. One afternoon, Claire passed by a large office building. She stopped because in front of it was me. I was standing there talking with a few people, and beside me was a woman, very beautiful, confident. She smiled, lightly touched my arm as she spoke, a very natural gesture. Claire stood at a distance, didn't walk closer, just watched. And for the first time, she realized something. I was no longer the 16-year-old boy. Around me, there were so many people, so many choices, so many women. People who could give me an easier life. No debt, no complicated past, no old scars. Claire lowered her head, her chest tightened. Maybe I really have lost him, she whispered. But then she remembered something. That hug, the way he looked at her, the way he still remembered every little detail. And she realized, maybe not. But if she didn't try, then this time she would lose me forever.
The distance in our messages. In the days that followed, we started texting each other. Not like people in love. No more messages like, "What are you going? I miss you. Good night." Instead, they were just normal. "Did you eat?" "Yeah, I did. You?" "Same." And that was it. On the surface, nothing seemed wrong. But that normalcy made Claire feel empty. At night, she lay in bed. Her phone screen lit up. My name appeared. Her heart still raced, out of habit. She opened the message. "Bring a jacket tomorrow. It's cold." Claire stared at those words for a long time. It was care, but not the kind of care from before. Back then, I would have said, "Stay warm, or I'm going to worry." Now, it was just a reminder. Claire put her phone down, stared at the ceiling. A strange feeling crept into her chest. Not exactly sadness, not exactly pain, but a hollow space. Like standing in front of a door that once stood wide open, but now was only slightly ajar. On my side, I also stared at my phone for a long time. The message had been sent, but I didn't send another. Not because I didn't want to, but because I was trying to keep my distance. I knew if I softened even a little, I would go back to how I used to be. But I couldn't. Not yet. A few days later, we started talking a little more. "How's work?" "It's okay." "Tired?" "Yeah, but I'm used to it." The questions, the answers, everything was right, but something was missing. Emotion. Claire felt it clearly. There was one time she held her phone for a long time, typed the message, "I miss you." Her finger hovered. All it took was one tap, just 1 second. But in the end, she deleted it. Instead, she sent something else. "What are you doing?" I replied almost immediately. "Working." Claire smiled softly, a slightly sad smile. She understood. I wasn't far from her, but I wasn't close anymore either.
One evening, it started to rain. Claire got off work late. She stood under the awning, watching the rain fall. She took out her phone, hesitated for a few seconds, then texted me. "It's raining." A meaningless message, but to her, it was the only way to start something. I read the message, looked out the office window. It was raining here too. I replied, "Yeah, do you have an umbrella?" Claire looked at the screen. "No." A moment later, I texted again, "Stay there." Claire froze. Her heart started pounding. But a few seconds later, another message appeared. "I called you a ride. It'll be there in 5 minutes." Claire stood still. She didn't know whether to smile or feel sad. He still cared, but he didn't show up. He wasn't the one running through the rain to her anymore. The car arrived. Claire got in. She sat inside, looking out the window. The rain blurred everything, just like how she felt. She whispered softly, "Ethan, are you close to me or so far away?" On my side, I was still sitting in the office, my phone on the desk. I knew if I just got in my car and drove to her, everything would be different. But I didn't. I leaned back in my chair, closed my eyes. In my mind was the image of her standing in the rain, and also the girl she used to be at 16. I let out a quiet breath. "I have to be sure," I said to myself. "This time, I can't get it wrong." And Claire, sitting in that car, quietly, she held her hands tightly. And for the first time, she truly understood something. Ethan was no longer someone she could easily reach. But still, she wanted to try, even if there was only the smallest chance left.
After days of texting, things slowly became clearer. No one said it out loud, but we both felt it. We were in a very strange place. Not lovers, not quite strangers either, but friends. At least, that's how I chose to act. I still texted her, still checked in, still cared, but I always kept a distance. Close enough not to disappear from her life, but far enough for her to understand things weren't the same anymore. One morning, Claire was at the office. She sat in front of her computer. The screen was open, but her mind wasn't there. Her phone buzzed. A message for me. "What are you having for lunch?" Claire looked at it. Such a normal question. She replied, "Probably eating at work." I responded, "Okay, don't skip your meal." That was it. Claire put her phone down. That familiar feeling returned. Empty. Not painful, but not warm either. Like a glass of water. Not hot, not cold, just bland. She went back to work, but around her, things felt different. At the desk nearby, a coworker was laughing, phone pressed to her ear. "Wait for me, okay? I'll be off soon." Her voice was sweet, her eyes sparkling. Another coworker had her boyfriend bring her lunch. He stood by the entrance. She ran to him, smiling brightly. "You didn't have to come. I had time." Simple words, but they made Claire pause for a few seconds. She watched them, not jealous, but a little wistful. Back then, she used to have that too. Someone who always showed up at the right moment. Someone who came without being asked. Someone who would do anything just to make her smile. Clara looked down at her hands. Empty. That afternoon, she ate alone, sitting in her usual corner at a small cafe. Around her were couples, one pair teasing each other over food. "You eat. No, you eat." They both laughed,
Another couple sat quietly, but their hands were still intertwined. No words needed. Yet, it was enough. Claire watched them, and suddenly she remembered something. Back then, we used to be like that too. We didn't need money, didn't need fancy places. Just sitting next to each other was enough. Claire smiled softly, but this time, the smile wasn't whole. That night, she went home. Her small apartment was the same as always, quiet. She sat on her bed, opened her phone. My messages were still there. Not too many, not too few, just enough to maintain something, but not enough to make her heart race. Claire hugged her pillow, closed her eyes. In her mind was the image of me in the park that day, the way I looked at her, the way I held her, and also the way I let go. She whispered softly, "Are you keeping your distance on purpose? Or do you just not want this anymore?" On my side, I knew exactly what I was doing. I was giving her a feeling that we were just friends, nothing more, nothing less. But deep inside, it was a different story. I was watching. I wanted to know if there was no clear love for me, what would she choose? To walk away or to stay? Not because I wanted to test her, but because I needed to know. This girl, does she truly want to stay in my life again? Not because of circumstances, not because of what I've done for her, but because of me.
Sometimes, I invited her out to dinner. Not often, not anything special, just simple texts. "Are you free tonight?" Claire looked at that message, and her heart still raced. "Yeah, I'm free. I'll pick you up at 7. Nothing more, no asking what she wanted to eat, no teasing like before, just a plan. But for Claire, it was still enough to make her look forward to it. That evening, she stood in front of the mirror for a long time, tried on one dress, then changed, tried another, still not satisfied. She looked at herself, thinner, more tired, no longer the 16-year-old girl who was always glowing with energy. Claire let out a soft breath. It's fine. It's just dinner. But in the end, she chose the dress I once said I liked. When she came downstairs, I was already waiting. I looked at her. For a brief second, I realized something. She was still beautiful. Not perfect, but the kind of beauty that makes it hard to look away. But I didn't say it. I just gave a small nod. "Let's go." Claire smiled softly. That smile carried a bit of hope and a bit of disappointment. The restaurant I took her to wasn't a place we used to go. It was elegant, upscale, warm lighting, quiet. Claire stepped inside and hesitated slightly. She looked around. Everything felt different from the world she lived in now. Well-dressed people, soft conversations. She gently tugged at her sleeve. A small reflex, but I noticed. We sat down. The waiter handed us the menu. Claire opened it. The prices made her pause for a second. She didn't say anything, just stayed quiet. I spoke. "Order whatever you want." Claire nodded. "Okay." But she still chose the cheapest item. Dinner went fine. We talked, small things, work, life. Sometimes we both laughed. But then silence returned. A kind of silence not because there was nothing to say, but because something wasn't the same anymore. On the way out, we passed the table near the entrance. A group of people sat there. One of them, a woman. She saw me. Her eyes lit up. "Ethan?" I stopped. "Hey." She stood up. Naturally, she walked toward me. "I didn't expect to see you here." Her voice was soft, familiar. Claire stood beside me, silent. She watched. That woman was beautiful, confident. The way she spoke to me, easy, no distance. "You're here with a friend?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah." She glanced at Claire, gave a polite smile. "Nice to meet you." Claire nodded back, but didn't say anything. Just a brief moment, but it was enough. Enough for Claire to feel something.
My world and her world were very different now. On the way home, Claire stayed quiet, not like before. No small talk, no soft smiles, just silence. I didn't ask. I knew what she was thinking. When the car stopped, Claire didn't get out right away. She looked down at her hands. "Ethan?" I turned to her. She hesitated for a few seconds, then asked very softly, "Do you have a lot of people like that?" I understood the question, but I didn't answer directly. "What do you think?" Claire gave a small smile. "I guess you do." She nodded. "Yeah, that makes sense." Her voice sounded normal, but her eyes weren't. Something in them had fallen. She opened the door. "Thank you for dinner," then stepped out. Didn't look back. I watched her walk away, a clear feeling in my chest. She was starting to realize it. The distance between us. Not just 7 years, but 2 different worlds. On Claire's side, when she stepped into her small apartment, she stood in front of the mirror, looking at herself. The dress, her hair, her face. None of it was bad, but standing next to the women around me, she felt smaller. Claire lowered her head. Maybe I really don't belong in his world anymore." Her voice was soft, but certain. A tear fell. This time, not because of the past, but because of the present. There are some things no one needs to say out loud, but just seeing them is enough to understand. Claire didn't try to step into my world, but that world kept appearing in front of her. One afternoon, she got off work earlier than usual. She walked through downtown, crowded streets, bright lights, tall buildings reflecting the sunset. Claire was about to head straight home, but then she saw me. I was standing in front of a large office building, a few people around me. They were talking, laughing, discussing something. And beside me was a woman. She was dressed elegantly, her hair neatly tied back, her expression confident. She was speaking. I was listening. Then I smiled. A smile Claire knew very well, but it wasn't for her. Claire stood at a distance, didn't walk closer. She just watched. Something inside her tightened. Not jealousy, but something harder to name. Like she was standing outside a world she once belonged to. Claire turned away, but her steps slowed. She didn't want to look, but she couldn't stop thinking. That night, I texted her. "Did you eat?" Claire looked at the message. A familiar question, but today it felt distant. "Yeah," she replied shortly. I texted back. "Okay." That was it. Claire put her phone down. She sat there, silent. The image from earlier still in her mind. The way that woman stood beside me, the way I talked, the way everything felt natural. No awkwardness, no distance. And suddenly, she realized something. She was no longer in that position. A few days later, Claire went out to eat with a coworker. A cozy place, soft lighting. She was sitting there when the door opened. And once again, she saw me. This time, not just one person, but a group, men and women. But Claire's eyes stopped on one person. A woman, sitting very close to me. She tilted her head, smiled at something I said, then naturally, lightly touched my arm. I didn't pull away. Claire saw it, clearly. Not because I wanted it, but also not because I rejected it. A hollow space opened inside her. She turned her face away, but her heart started beating faster. "Claire, you okay?" her coworker asked. She nodded. Yeah, I'm fine. But she couldn't eat anymore. When she got home, Claire sat on her bed. The room was the same. Small, quiet, nothing had changed. But she had. She stood up, walked to the mirror, looked at herself for a long time. Then she said softly, "A man like him should be with someone better." It wasn't blame, not jealousy. It was acceptance. She thought back to the women she had seen. Beautiful, confident, successful. They belonged to my world. And her, she was just trying to survive in her own. Claire sat down, hugged her knees. 7 years. Changed too much. Her voice grew quieter. You've gone so far. And I... She didn't finish, because the answer was already clear. Her phone buzzed. Claire looked at the message. For a long time. Then she put her phone down. Didn't reply right away. Not because she didn't want to, but because, for the first time, she felt afraid. Afraid that, if she kept stepping into my life, she would see even more clearly that she might lose me. Again. And this time, maybe forever.
There are moments when a person stands between two choices, to give up or to change. Claire chose to change, not out of competition, not to prove anything to anyone, but simply because she didn't want that feeling of not being enough to swallow her again. The next morning, Claire woke up earlier than usual. She stood in front of the mirror for a long time. No more avoiding it, no more comforting herself, just looking, honestly. Okay, let's start over. She tied her hair more neatly, put on light makeup, nothing too elaborate, but different. A little more effort, a little more care. She chose a more polished outfit for work. For the first time in a long while, she paid attention to how she showed up in front of others. When she walked into the office, a few people looked at her. Not many, but enough for her to notice. Something had changed. Claire sat down at her desk, took a small breath. I can do this. But life isn't always as gentle as your determination. At lunch, Claire sat with a few coworkers. They ate, talked. One girl in the group looked Claire up and down, then smiled lightly. You look different today. Claire smiled back. Yeah, just trying something new. The girl nodded. Not bad. Then added, but that kind of style must be expensive, right? Another person chimed in. Yeah, looks like that doesn't really work if you're busy. People at big companies, they're just on a different level. It sounded normal. No one laughed loudly, no one meant to hurt her, but it hit exactly where it hurt. Claire stayed quiet. The smile remained on her lips, but her hand tightened slightly. She lowered her head and kept eating. Didn't say anything else. That afternoon, she worked like usual, but her mind wasn't focused anymore. The words from lunch kept repeating. Doesn't fit, too expensive, different level. Claire stared at her screen, but in her head were images of the women around her. They didn't have to try like she did. They already belonged to that world. And her, she was just trying to step into it. And that was exhausting. That night, Claire went home. She didn't turn on the lights right away, just sat there in the dark. For a long time. Then she stood up, opened her closet,
took out the clothes she had prepared, the things she planned to use to become better. She looked at them for a long time. Then she sat down, covered her face with both hands. Am I trying to become someone else? Her voice trembled. Am I, no matter how hard I try, never going to be like them? Tears fell, not all at once, but steadily, slowly. Claire lifted her head, looked into the mirror. Her eyes no longer held the determination from that morning, only exhaustion. Why did I think I could? She didn't finish the sentence because she already knew the answer. Her phone buzzed. Claire glanced over. It was me. Are you okay? Just 4 words, but they made her heart skip a beat. She stared at the message for a long time. Her finger hovered over the screen, but she didn't reply. Because she didn't know who she should be when she answered me. The girl she used to be? Or someone trying to become good enough? Claire put the phone down, lay back on her bed, stared at the ceiling, empty. For the first time since deciding to change, she felt hopeless. Not because there was no chance, but because she wasn't sure anymore if she was strong enough to hold on to it. There are truths no one ever says out loud. But when the pain is deep enough, people start connecting the pieces themselves. Claire had begun to do exactly that. Not in a single moment, but little by little. My messages. Did you eat? Are you free tomorrow? Go to bed early. Nothing wrong, not cold, but also not love anymore. The times I asked her out to dinner. Polite, measured, no longer the way I used to pull her hand as we crossed a street. No longer the way I'd look at her a second longer just to tease her. No longer that feeling of, you're the only one. Claire sat on her bed, her phone in her hand. She scrolled through our messages, from the beginning to the end. The more she read, the quieter she became. Not a single line that said I loved her. Just someone who cared. Someone kind. Someone who had known her for a long time. Claire let out a soft laugh. Very light. Oh, so that's what it is. She set her phone down, stared into the empty space ahead. In her mind, everything started falling into place. The way I helped her, the money, the opportunities, the coincidental appearances, all of it wasn't love. It was repayment. Claire closed her eyes. A single tear slipped down quietly. That's right. He's just paying me back. She thought about the past, the years before. When I was struggling, she was the one who stayed. Lent me money, studied with me late into the night, encouraged me when I failed. No calculations, no hesitation, just love. And now, I was doing the same thing. But it wasn't love anymore. Just a debt being repaid. Claire opened her eyes. There was no confusion left in them, only a very clear sadness. So, I misunderstood everything. She took a deep breath. Her chest felt heavy. But this time, she didn't cry out loud, didn't panic, just silence. A painful acceptance. He's gone so far. How could I possibly? She didn't finish the sentence because she already knew. She was no longer in a place to dream. The next day, I texted her. I'm free tonight. An opening line, just like always. Claire looked at the message. This time, her heart didn't race. She didn't wait. She just looked, then replied. I'm busy. Short. I read it, paused for a moment, but didn't ask anything more. Okay. That was it. Claire stared at that okay. Her heart tightened slightly, but she didn't change her answer. She put her phone down, leaned back in her chair, closed her eyes. Let's stop. Don't dream anymore. Her voice was soft, but this time clearer than ever before. She stood up, walked to the mirror, looked at herself for a long time, then nodded slightly. At least, I still have my self-respect. A faint smile. Not happy, but not as hopeless as the day before. Just acceptance. On my side, when I saw her message, "I'm busy," I knew something had changed, and this time it was no longer within my control.
There are pains that don't come from the person you love, but from people who mean nothing. And yet, they're strong enough to break you. That night, Claire was working her part-time shift. A small place, not too crowded, not fancy. White lighting, a slightly cramped space. She changed into her uniform, tied her hair back neatly, her face already used to exhaustion. But today, something was different. She was quieter, spoke less, as if she had pulled herself out of everything. In a corner of the cafe, a group of staff stood talking. They didn't try to lower their voices, and Claire heard them. "Hey, did you notice? She's been dressing different lately." A soft laugh followed. "Yeah, probably trying to level up her life. Still, doubt she'll get very far." Claire stood there, back turned, her hand holding the tray tightened slightly. "I heard, you know that guy who picks her up sometimes, right?" "Yeah, he looks rich." "Exactly. Guys like that?" A quiet, mocking laugh. "They take girls on a whole different level. Why would someone like him choose—" The sentence paused, as if intentionally letting the rest fill itself in. Then came the final line, "Someone like her." Not loud, but sharp. Sharp enough to cut. Claire stood still, didn't turn around, didn't react. But inside her, something cracked. She walked away, as if she hadn't heard anything, but each step felt heavier than usual. Throughout her shift, Claire barely spoke. She worked, silently, serving customers, clearing tables, like a machine. But in her mind, those words, they wouldn't stop. "Won't get far. He wouldn't choose someone like her." Claire lowered her head as she wiped the table. A drop of water fell onto the surface. She paused. They didn't know if it was water or a tear. When her shift ended, Claire changed, didn't talk to anyone, just quietly left. Outside, the air was cold, a light breeze. She stood there for a few seconds, then started walking. Didn't call a ride, didn't rush, just walked, as if trying to outrun what she felt inside. She replayed their words, and then she thought of me. The image of me standing among beautiful women, confident, radiant. And then she looked at herself. A distance, clear, undeniable. Claire stopped in the middle of a quiet street. She exhaled, slowly. "They're right." Her voice was soft. No argument, no anger, just a cold acceptance. "I don't belong in that world. I'm not the kind of person he would choose." A tear fell. This time, she didn't wipe it away. She let it fall, then another, and another. Claire lifted her head, looked up at the dark sky, her eyes empty. "Then I should stop." Her voice so soft it almost disappeared into the air. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. Claire didn't need to look. She knew it was me. She didn't take it out, didn't read it, didn't reply. Because for the first time, she understood something clearly. It wasn't that I didn't love her. It was that
she no longer had the courage to believe she was worthy of being loved. On my side, I stared at my phone, the message still unread. An uneasy feeling spread through my chest, not clear, but strong enough that I couldn't ignore it anymore.
There are days when things don't just go wrong in one place, but go wrong everywhere. That morning, Claire went to work like usual. She was used to being quiet, used to not expecting anything. She sat at her desk, turned on her computer, tried to focus, but what happened didn't give her that chance. Behind her, a few coworkers were talking, not too quietly, just enough for her to hear. "Hey, that guy you mentioned the other day? The one who picks her up sometimes." "Yeah, that one. I heard he's kind of a big deal." A soft laugh. "Really?" "Yeah, I saw some pictures online." Another voice joined in. "Well then, she must be something too, huh? Otherwise, how would she get with someone like that?" A brief pause, then a joking tone. "Or maybe she's just being taken care of." Laughter broke out, not loud, but clear enough. Claire sat still, eyes on the screen, but her hands weren't moving. Because honestly, she's not that special. A light comment, as if it were just an observation, but to Claire, it felt like a slap. She lowered her head, took a breath, tried to stay calm, but her heart started beating faster. She wanted to stand up, wanted to say something, but she didn't, because she didn't know what she could say to prove they were wrong. Because deep down, she had started to doubt herself. At lunch, Claire ate alone, didn't join the group, didn't talk, just sat there with a tray of food she barely touched. A coworker walked by, looked at her, then said casually, "Been busy lately, huh?" Claire nodded slightly. "Yeah." The person smiled, or busy with someone special. A glance, a smile, not openly cruel, but enough to make her feel watched. Claire didn't respond, just lowered her head, and when that person walked away, she finally exhaled, slowly, tired. That evening, she went to her part-time job. She had thought, at least here, things would be normal. But she was wrong. The place was busier that night. Bright lights, voices everywhere. Claire worked faster than usual, as if to keep herself from thinking. But then, a table called her over. 3 people, well-dressed. They looked her up and down. One of the men spoke. "How long have you been working here?" Claire nodded politely. "For a while." He smiled. "Then you must meet a lot of rich people, huh?" It sounded like a joke, but his eyes weren't joking. Claire paused for a second. "I just do my job, sir." Another man added, "Well, you've got potential. You shouldn't stay here too long." A quiet chuckle. "Who knows? If you meet the right person, your life could change overnight." Claire stood still. The tray in her hands trembled slightly. She knew exactly what they meant, but she couldn't react, couldn't walk away, because this was her job. "Go ahead and take our order." The tone almost like a command. Claire nodded, lowered her head, and started writing. But the words began to blur. She didn't know if it was the light or her tears. When she turned away, she walked faster, into the kitchen, set the tray down, and just stood there, doing nothing. Her hands pressed against the counter, head lowered, shoulders trembling slightly. No one looked, no one asked, and she didn't want anyone to. After a while, she went back to work, as if nothing had happened. But inside,
something had cracked a little more. When her shift ended, Claire changed clothes. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes were no longer sad, just empty. She lightly touched her cheek, where her tears had dried, then whispered, "Maybe I get it now. His world was never meant for me. No more doubt, no more resistance, just a painful acceptance." Outside, her phone buzzed again, but this time she didn't need to look. She already knew. She turned it off, put it in her pocket, and walked out, alone, into the night.
Jealousy is a strange thing. It isn't loud. It doesn't need a clear reason. It just needs someone to have something another person doesn't. That's enough for it to begin. A month passed. I didn't see Claire, not because I forgot, but because I was busy. Back-to-back business trips, endless meetings, everything pulled me away. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, I still thought about her. Her eyes that day, when she said, "I'm busy." Such a normal sentence, but it left me uneasy. That night, I came back earlier than planned. Didn't tell her. I just wanted to see her. After 10 p.m., I arrived at the place where she worked. Didn't go in right away. I stood outside. The lights inside were still on. Most of the customers were gone. Only a few staff members left, cleaning up. I looked through the glass. I saw her. Claire was wiping a table. Slowly. Tired. No longer moving with the same urgency as before. I was about to walk in, but then I stopped because I heard voices from inside. "Hey, working that slow? Planning to stay here all night?" A female voice. Claire didn't respond, just kept working. "Or waiting for someone to pick you up?" A laugh. "Oh, right. Guess no one comes for you anymore, huh?" Another voice joined in. "Maybe he got bored. Someone like her, how long could she keep him anyway?" Laughter spread. Not loud, but clear enough to be heard. I stood outside. My hand tightened. But I didn't go in yet, because I wanted to know what she would do. Claire stayed silent. She put the cloth down, took a breath, then turned around. For the first time, she looked straight at them, her eyes no longer avoiding. "Are you done?" Her voice wasn't loud, but it was clear. The whole room paused for a second. One of them raised an eyebrow. "Oh, you talking back now?" Claire took a step forward. Her hand trembled slightly, but she stood firm. "I know who I am," she said. "I know my place." Silence. But she didn't stop. "I don't dare to dream." Her voice began to shake. "I don't think I deserve anyone. But," she clenched her hands, "at least I don't live by putting other people down." No one laughed anymore. The air tightened. One of them stepped forward. "You talking to us?" Claire didn't step back. "He's better than everything you think." That sentence made my heart pound.
I'm not good enough for him. But that doesn't give you the right to talk about him like that. A sudden shove. Claire stumbled. Say that again if you're so brave. The tension snapped. I couldn't stand still anymore. I opened the door. Walked in. That's enough. My voice wasn't loud, but it was cold. Everyone turned. Claire too. When she saw me, her eyes whitened. For a second, she froze. The person who pushed her didn't stop. What does this have to do with? I stepped forward, stood in front of Claire. Don't touch her. My eyes held no restraint. Silence fell. At that moment, the door behind opened. A man walked in. The owner. No one expected him. He looked around, then stopped at me. 1 second. 2. Then, he smiled. Ethan? I recognized him. It was him. My friend. From college. The atmosphere shifted instantly. He looked at Claire, then back at me. A hint of surprise in his eyes. Then he asked, "Is she the ex-girlfriend you always talked about? The one who helped you when you had nothing?" That sentence echoed. Clear. No one laughed anymore. No one spoke. Behind me, I could feel it. Claire was shaking. That question wasn't loud, but it landed like thunder. The entire room fell silent. I didn't answer right away, just stood there, in front of Claire. Behind me, I could feel her breathing, shaky. Very faint, but enough for me to know she was trying not to fall apart. The owner looked at me. His gaze was serious. "It's her, right?" I took a breath, then nodded. Yeah, just one word, but enough. Enough to make everyone in the room freeze. The one who pushed Claire stepped back. Her expression changed. No more mockery, only unease. The owner turned to them. His voice dropped. "What exactly were you doing?" No one answered. One of them stammered. "We were just what?" The air grew heavy. I didn't care what they said anymore. I turned around, looked at Claire. For the first time in a month, up close. She was thinner, more tired. But what made me stop was her eyes. Not joy, not hope, but deep panic, as if everything she had tried to hide had just been exposed. Claire took a step back. "Ethan." Her voice was soft. "You shouldn't be here." I looked at her, said nothing, because I knew what she was thinking. She didn't want me to see, didn't want me to know how she had been living. But I had already seen it. Everything. The owner stepped closer. He looked at Claire for a moment. Then his voice softened. "You're Claire, right?" Claire paused, then nodded slightly. "Yes." He exhaled, a different kind of smile. Not strict, but respectful. "I've heard your name a lot." Claire froze, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. He turned to me. "This guy. Back when he had nothing, he talked about you all the time." A small laugh. He was broke, failing exams, ready to give up on everything. But every time he mentioned you, he got back up. I stayed silent, didn't stop him, because I knew there were things she needed to hear. Claire stood there, motionless, as if every word was holding her in place. "You lent him money, studied with him late at night, encouraged him when he had nothing left." His voice slowed. "To him, you were never just someone he used to know." That sentence made Claire's eyes turn red. She turned away, but her tears fell before she could stop them. One by one, silently. The owner looked around the room, then spoke to everyone. "In this place, I don't need people who are good at..."
The night everything broke and came back to life. The cafe door closed behind us. The noise inside was left behind. All that remained was the night, quiet, still. I was still holding her hand, not tight, but enough that she couldn't pull away. Claire walked with me for a few steps. Then she stopped, abruptly. I turned back, and in that moment, she pulled her hand away. "Don't!" Her voice trembled, shaking, badly. Before I could say anything, she stepped back. One step, two steps, as if trying to create distance. "Please don't do this." Tears started falling. No more holding back. No more pretending. "I can't take it." Her voice broke. I stood still, didn't move closer, didn't touch her again, because I knew she needed to speak. Claire wrapped her arms around herself, like a child trying to stay together. She bent forward slightly, her shoulders trembling. "Do you know? I tried. I tried so hard." Her voice choked. "I tried to dress better, to speak better, to become someone I thought you would choose." She shook her head. Tears kept falling. "But I couldn't. I'm not like them. I don't belong in your world." Each word felt like it was being torn out of her. At work, they talk behind my back. At the cafe, they laugh at me. I hear everything. I know everything. Her voice completely shattered. But I don't say anything, because I think the same thing too. My hands clenched, but I didn't interrupt. Claire looked up, her eyes red, locked onto mine. For the first time, no more avoiding. "You're good to me. You help me. You care about me." She smiled, a painful, broken smile. "But I know that's not love anymore." My heart
stopped for a second. "You're just paying me back, right?" Silence. A long one. Then Claire shook her head. "It's okay. I understand. I don't blame you. I was the one who imagined too much." Her voice softened, fading. "I thought if I just tried a little harder, if I became a little better, maybe we could go back." More tears fell. "But today, I understand now. I don't have the right to dream anymore." She lowered her head, her shoulders shaking, like a child who just lost something irreplaceable. "I'm so tired. Really, so tired. I don't want to try anymore. I don't want to compare anymore. I don't want to see you standing next to women who are better than me." Her voice broke completely. And then she cried. Not quietly, not gently. She cried like a child, cried for all the days she tried, cried for all the times she stayed silent, cried for herself, and for me. I stood there, listening to every word, not missing a single one. Until she couldn't speak anymore. Only soft sobs remained. Then I stepped forward. Slowly. Very slowly. Claire didn't step back. She didn't have the strength anymore. I stood in front of her, looked at her for a moment. Then I pulled her into my arms. No asking, no permission, just held her tight, like if I let go, she would disappear again. Claire froze, her whole body stiff for a second. Then she let go of everything. Her hands grabbed onto my shirt, her face bearing into my chest, and she cried. Louder, deeper, like she had never been allowed to cry before. Like everything was breaking out at once. I held her tighter, one hand gently cradling her head. "Go ahead, cry." My voice was low, steady. "I'm here." Just that one sentence. And Claire cried even harder, as if she had been waiting to hear those words for 7 years. That night, there was no distance, no logic, no tests. Just two people who once loved each other deeply and never truly let go.
The truth he couldn't hide anymore. She was still crying, soft sobs, broken, fading, but still there. I kept holding her, didn't let go, didn't rush to speak, just held her, like I was holding a part of myself. And in that moment, I realized something. I was wrong. I had been wrong for a long time. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. My chest hurt. Not physical pain, but the kind that comes from realizing I was the one who put her through all of this. I lowered my head, my forehead resting gently against her hair. My voice dropped. "Claire?" She didn't answer, but her hands tightened on my shirt, like she was afraid I'd disappear. "I'm sorry." Those 3 words fell slowly. She froze. Her crying paused for a second. "I'm sorry," I repeated, "for letting you go through all of this alone." Claire held on to me tighter, but said nothing.
I continued, my voice no longer as steady as before. I knew everything. I knew you were struggling. I knew you worked here. I even knew what was happening at your office. Claire stiffened. I could feel it clearly. I've known for a long time. Silence. Heavy. Slowly, she lifted her head, looked at me, her eyes filled with shock. You knew? Her voice was barely there. I nodded. Yeah, just one word, but enough to make her heart sink. Then why? Why didn't you say anything? Her voice trembled. Not anger, but pain. I stayed silent for a few seconds, then spoke. Because I was afraid. Claire looked at me, confused. I gave a small smile, a sad one. I was afraid I'd make the same mistake again. I held her a little more gently, like I was afraid of hurting her. I already lost you once. I didn't want to lose you again if we tried one more time. My voice slowed. For the past 7 years, I've met a lot of people. Some good, some not. Some so good, I admired them. Some so bad, I couldn't believe it. Claire stayed quiet, listening to every word. I learned something. Not everyone who looks good is truly good, and not everyone who used to be good stays that way. I looked straight into her eyes. I was afraid that the girl I loved at 16 was no longer here. Claire trembled. Her eyes turned red again. I was afraid. If I rushed it, I'd choose wrong. And this time, there wouldn't be a second chance to fix it. A tear slipped from my eye. Quick, but she saw it. So I kept my distance. I pretended we were just friends. I helped you without letting you know. I watched. I waited. I wanted to see if you were still that girl. Claire slowly pulled back from my arms. Not completely, but enough to see me clearly. And have you seen? That question was soft, but the heaviest thing in the air. I didn't answer right away, just looked at her for a long time. Then I lifted my hand, gently wiped a tear on her cheek. I have. My voice was firmer now. I saw a girl who was still the same as before. Claire shook her head. No, I'm not like before. I'm weaker. I'm more insecure. I placed my hand on her cheek, stopping her. No, my voice was firm. You're just tired. You've never become less than who you were. Claire looked at me. Her eyes filled again, but this time, not from despair. I'm sorry, I said, for those stupid tests I put you through. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I didn't realize every day I stayed silent was another day you had to suffer alone. I leaned forward, my forehead gently touching hers. I was wrong. Soft, but real. Claire closed her eyes. A tear rolled down, but this time she wasn't shaking, not panicking, just quiet. Ethan, she whispered. I didn't pull away. Do you still love me? That question was as light as the wind, but it made my heart stop for a second. I didn't answer immediately, just pulled her closer, as if the answer was already there. But this time, I didn't run. I whispered, I never stopped loving you. She broke down again, crying, but this time, not from pain, but because, finally, she heard the words she had been waiting for.
The night they chose each other again. The night was still there, but everything had changed. Claire was standing right in front of me, so close I could feel her breath. We weren't crying anymore, but her eyes were still wet, and me, my heart still hadn't calmed down. I looked at her for a long time, as if I blinked, she would disappear. Claire, I called her name, softly. She looked at me, no more avoiding, no more stepping back, just standing there,
waiting for me to speak. I took a breath. This time, I didn't want to hide anything anymore. My voice was low. I don't want to keep my distance either. She trembled slightly, but said nothing. I stepped a little closer. I made a mistake once. I don't want to make another one. I paused, looked straight into her eyes. I don't know what the future will look like, but I do know one thing. I reached out, took her hand. This time, clearly, openly. I want you in that future. Claire held her breath. Her eyes widened like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need you to be like anyone else. I just need... My voice softened. You. A tear fell, but this time, it was hope. So, I gently tightened my hold on her hand. Claire, do you want to start again with me? Silence. No cars, no wind. Just the two of us. Claire looked at me. Her lips trembled. She wanted to say something, but couldn't. Instead, she stepped forward, slowly. And then, she wrapped her arms around me, tight. So tight, like she was afraid I'd disappear. Yes, her voice broke. I do. I want to start again, even if I'm scared, even if I'm not perfect. But she held me tighter. I still love you. My heart felt like it shattered, not from pain, but because, finally, I heard it. I held her back. This time with nothing held back, no logic in the way, only love. I gently pulled her back a little, just enough to see her face. Her eyes were red, her lashes still wet, but her smile, soft, warm. I lifted my hand, wiped away the last tear on her cheek. Then I leaned in, slowly, very slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. But Claire didn't. She closed her eyes, softly, trusting me. And then our lips met. A kiss. Not rushed, not overwhelming, but gentle. Like the first time 7 years ago, but deeper, more mature, holding everything we had lost and everything we had just found again. Claire trembled slightly, her hands gripping my shirt, like she needed to make sure this was real. The kiss lingered. Neither of us wanted to let go. Until she slowly pulled back, her breath soft and uneven, her eyes still closed. Then she opened them, looked at me, so close, so real, and she whispered, "Am I dreaming?" Her voice was so soft it almost disappeared into the night. I smiled gently, lifted my hand, touched her cheek. "No," I said. "This time, it's real." Claire laughed through her tears, a smile I had missed for 7 years. I pulled her close again, held her, once more. But this time, there was no fear of losing her. Only one feeling remained. Finally, we found our way back to each other.
That night, we didn't say much more. We didn't need to. Some things, once you've found them again, just being beside each other is enough. I drove her home. The car moved slower than usual, not because of traffic, but because neither of us wanted the night to end. Claire sat beside me, quiet, but it wasn't the heavy silence from before. It was a strange kind of peace. Every now and then, I caught her glancing at me, then looking away, smiling softly to herself, as if she still couldn't quite believe what had just happened. I felt the same. 7 years, a long circle,
and somehow we ended up sitting next to each other again like this. I stopped the car in front of her place. Neither of us rushed to get out. Claire looked outside, then turned back to me. Tomorrow, she hesitated. Will we still be like this? That question made my heart pause for a second. I understood. After everything, she was still afraid. Afraid that this was just a moment. Afraid that when she woke up tomorrow, everything would disappear. I reached over, took her hand, without hesitation. No, I said. Claire froze. Her eyes dimmed slightly, but I gently tightened my grip and continued. Not just like this. I looked at her, clearly. Tomorrow will be better than today. 1 second, 2 seconds, then Claire laughed. Soft, but warm. You're still the same, she whispered. You always make me believe. I smiled, because this time, I mean it. Claire looked at me for a moment longer. Then she leaned closer and kissed my cheek. Quick, but enough to make my heart skip a beat. Good night, she said softly, then opened the door, stepped out. But before closing it, she turned back. Don't disappear again, okay? Her voice was very quiet, but this time, I didn't let her wait. Never. She nodded, then closed the door. I watched her until she completely disappeared from sight. That night, I couldn't sleep, not because I was thinking too much, but because my heart had finally found its way back to where it belonged. The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual, not because of work, but because I wanted to see her. No reason needed. I just wanted to. I texted her, "Are you awake?" A simple message, but this time it didn't feel distant anymore. Not long after, my phone buzzed. "I'm up. I thought you'd be busy." I smiled. "Busy, but I still have time for you." A moment passed. "When are you free?" I looked at the screen, answered immediately. "Right now." The typing dots appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, then breakfast? I stood up right away. "I'll come pick you up." This time, it wasn't occasional plans anymore, not by chance, but intentional, clear, and sincere. In the days that followed, we started again, but not as strangers and not as ex-lovers, but as two people who understood each other far more than before. We went out to eat together, simple places, nothing fancy, nothing showy. Claire ate slowly. Sometimes she'd look up at me, then smile. You know, I missed meals like this. I looked at her. Me too. We went for walks. Old streets, the park from years ago, the same bench. Everything hadn't changed much. Only us were different, more mature, more appreciative. There were moments when we said nothing, just sat next to each other, watching people pass by. But it didn't feel empty. It felt full. One afternoon, Claire sat beside me, leaning lightly against my shoulder. "Hey, yeah?" "I'm still scared." I turned to her. "I know." She stayed quiet for a moment, then said, "But I won't run away anymore." I held her hand. Me neither. Not a grand promise, not poetic words, just a simple commitment to stay and keep going together. Claire squeezed my hand, soft but certain. "This time," she whispered, "we'll do it right from the beginning." I nodded. Yeah. I looked at her for a moment longer, then smiled. "But I think we're not starting over." Claire looked at me, confused. I said softly, "We're just continuing." A very simple sentence, but Claire understood. She smiled, the warmest smile. And this time, I knew one thing for sure. Not because of the past, not because of regret, but because both of us chose each other, once again, and this time with both our hearts and our minds. In the days that followed, life was no longer heavy. Instead, it became light. So light that sometimes I found myself wondering if this was the life I had been searching for all those years. Claire slowly got used to having me by her side. Not like before, not the cautious, hesitant meetings, but a presence that was clear, open. I picked her up after work, no longer just passing by, but waiting for her, out in the open. At first, Claire was still shy. She would glance around as if afraid of being judged, but little by little, she got used to it. One evening, I took her to the movies, a large theater, soft lights, an elegant atmosphere. Claire stepped inside, a little unsure. She lightly tugged at my sleeve. "Hey, isn't this place expensive?" I smiled softly. "That's not what matters. What matters is, do you like it?" Claire looked around, then nodded, very gently, like a child experiencing something new for the first time. During the movie, she didn't focus entirely on the screen. Every now and then, she turned to look at me, then smiled. "What is it?" I whispered. She shook her head. "Nothing." But then she added quietly, "It's just, I never thought there would be a day I'd be sitting like this with you." I didn't say anything. I just reached over and held her hand. This time, she didn't hesitate. Instead, she held back, naturally. In the days that followed, we went out to eat together. Not always at fancy restaurants. Some days, just small roadside spots. Claire ate happily. She smiled more, talked more, and her eyes slowly regained the light they once had. One evening near Christmas, the city was glowing with lights, a slight chill in the air. I took her to a street decorated with Christmas trees and golden lights. Claire stopped, looked up. Her eyes lit up. "It's so beautiful." Her voice was soft, but full of feeling. I stood behind her, gently placed my jacket over her shoulders. "Are you cold?" She shook her head. "No, I feel warm." Then she turned to me. "Not because of the weather." I smiled. We walked among the crowd, hand in hand. No need for many words, just being together. After a while, I stopped in front of a small shop, took out a gift box, and handed it to her. Claire was surprised. "Hey, is this for me?" I nodded. "It's Christmas." She opened it. Inside was a delicate necklace, simple but elegant. Claire looked at it, then at me. Her eyes turned red again. "You didn't have to." I gently interrupted. "I wanted to." I stepped closer, put it on her. My fingers brushed lightly against her neck. Claire trembled slightly, but didn't step back. When I pulled away, she remained there, touching the necklace, as if afraid it might disappear. "Thank you." Her voice was very soft, but this time there was no insecurity, only happiness. Little by little, Claire stepped into my world, a world she once believed she didn't belong to. The gatherings, the events, the people others would call high class. The first time, she held my hand tightly. "I'm scared." I looked at her. "I'm here." Just those words. She nodded and followed me, slowly but firmly. People looked at her. Some judged, but this time Claire didn't lower her head because my hand was still holding hers, tightly. After all of that, one night, very quiet. No bright lights, no noise, just us. Claire stood in front of me. Her gaze softened. No more worry, no more fear. Only trust. She stepped closer, very close. "Hey, yeah?" She looked at me for a long time, as if memorizing every detail. Then she leaned into me, gently. No rush, no pressure, just a choice. I wrapped my arms around her, slowly, carefully, like holding something precious. That night, we stayed together, not out of loneliness, not to fill a void, but because we both wanted to be closer, to feel each other more clearly. No words needed, just a look, just the rhythm of two heartbeats becoming one. Everything unfolded naturally, gently, just like the way we found each other again. Not rushed, but deep. Afterwards, Claire rested against me, her breathing steady, soft. She whispered quietly, "I've never felt this safe before." I kissed her hair gently. Me neither. That night wasn't just about being close. It was the moment we truly belonged to each other again.
Happiness sometimes doesn't arrive with a loud explosion. It comes quietly. So quietly that people begin to believe it will stay forever. I used to think that too. Until things started to change. Not because of Claire, but because of the world around me. One morning, I was at the office. A meeting had just ended. My phone vibrated. An unknown number. I stared at the screen for a few seconds, then answered. "Hey?" That voice made me freeze. 1 second. 2 seconds. My chest tightened. "Do you still remember me?" I closed my eyes. Of course I did. Not because I still had feelings, but because she had been part of the time I tried to forget Claire. "What do you need?" I asked, short and direct. "I'm back." 3 simple words. Soft, but enough to stir everything. "Can we meet tonight?" I stayed silent. Not because I was hesitating, but because I knew this meeting wouldn't be simple. "No," I answered, firm. "I'm seeing someone." Silence on the other end. Then a soft laugh. "Is it her?" I didn't answer. But my silence was the answer. "I just want to talk for a bit." Goodbye. I hung up, not giving her another chance. But I knew this wasn't over. At the same time, Claire was stepping into her own challenge. One evening, she stood in front of the mirror, wearing a dress I had given her. Beautiful. Very beautiful. But her eyes still carried hesitation. That night, I took her to a large party. A place filled with business partners and my family. Claire held my hand. "Hey." "Yeah? Will your family like me?" That question made me pause. I looked at her, honestly. "I don't know." Claire tightened her grip slightly, but I continued. "But I know I choose you." She looked at me, then nodded, slowly. But this time, she didn't step back. We walked in. Lights, music, eyes watching. Some smiled, some judged, some whispered. Claire felt it all. I knew, because her hand tightened in mine. I leaned closer, whispered softly, "Just look at me." She turned to me. I smiled. "You don't need to look at anyone else." Claire exhaled softly, then nodded. Step by step, she walked with me. Not perfect, but steady enough. Until a voice came from behind. "You're here." I turned around. My mother. She looked at me. Then her gaze shifted to Claire. 1 second. 2 seconds. The air stilled. Claire bowed her head slightly. "Hello, ma'am." Her voice was polite, but I could feel the tremble.
My mother didn't respond right away. She observed carefully. Then, "You're Claire." Claire looked up, surprised. "Yes." My mother nodded. "I've heard of you." A sentence with no clear meaning. Claire stayed quiet. So did I. Then my mother turned to me. "We need to talk." I understood, but I didn't let go of Claire's hand. "Right here," I said, clearly. My mother looked at me, a hint of surprise. Then, "All right." She looked at Claire. "You left him once." Straightforward, no sugarcoating. Claire froze. I tightened my grip, but she didn't pull away. "Yes." Her voice was soft. At that time, I thought it was what was best for him. My mother stayed silent, studied her for a long moment. "And now?" Claire took a breath, looked straight ahead. "Now, I want to stay." No hesitation, no long explanation, just that one sentence. But it was real. My mother looked at her for a few more seconds. Then she exhaled softly. "His life isn't easy. Can you handle it?" Claire tightened her hold on my hand, this time without trembling. "I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I won't run away again." Silence. Then, my mother nodded, very slightly, but enough for...
Some stories don't end with a goodbye. They end with a promise strong enough to last a lifetime. After that night meeting my family, things didn't feel so difficult anymore. Not because the world changed, but because we chose to stand on the same side. Claire slowly became stronger, not because she turned into someone else, but because she started believing in herself. And she believed in me. One afternoon, I stood in my office, looking down at the city below. In my hand was a small box, very small, but heavy. Heavier than any decision I'd ever made. I had thought about this for a long time. Not because I was unsure, but because I wanted to be certain. Certain that this time it would be forever. I remembered that day. The day I saw her standing in that restaurant, head lowered, enduring everything. And today, she stood beside me. Not perfect, but strong enough to never walk away again. I smiled. All right, this time, I'm not waiting anymore. That night, I took her to the park, a familiar place, the place where we found each other again after 7 years. Claire stepped out of the car. She looked around, then turned to me. "You brought me here again?" I nodded. "Yeah." We walked, slowly, no rush. A soft breeze, golden streetlights falling across the same old path. Everything felt the same, except the way we felt. We stopped in front of that familiar bench. Claire looked at it, then smiled softly. I remember I didn't let her finish. I stepped forward, turned to face her. Claire froze for a second, like she felt it. "Hey," I took a deep breath. For the first time, I was nervous like this. More than any business deal, more than any major decision, because this time it was about my heart. "Claire?" I called her name. She looked at me, didn't blink. I used to think love was just about feelings. I thought loving someone was enough. I gave a small smile. But then I realized love also takes courage. The courage to stay,
the courage to believe, and the courage to choose one person for the rest of your life. Claire started trembling. Her eyes slowly filled with tears. I took out the small box, opened it. A ring. Not flashy, but elegant. Just like her. Claire covered her mouth. She couldn't say anything. I went down to one knee, in front of her. 7 years ago, I lost you because we weren't ready. 7 years later, I don't want to lose you ever again. I looked straight into her eyes. No hesitation, no turning away. Claire, will you walk the rest of your life with me? The world went still. Only heartbeats remained. Claire didn't answer right away. She cried. Tears kept falling. But this time, not from pain, from happiness that was too big to hold. Do you know, her voice broke, how long I've waited for this? I smiled softly. I'm guessing 7 years. Claire laughed through her tears. She nodded again and again. Yes, I will. I will. Her voice trembled, but it was clear. I stood up, slipped the ring onto her finger. Her hand was still shaking, but she didn't pull away, didn't hesitate. When the ring settled into place, Claire looked at it, then at me, like she still couldn't believe it. Am I dreaming again? She whispered. I laughed softly, pulled her into my arms. No, this time it's real. Claire held me back, tightly, so tightly, like if she let go, everything would disappear. I leaned down, kissed her. A kiss, under golden lights, under the night sky, in the place where we started again. And this time, there was no more goodbye, only a long road ahead. Together, Claire rested her head on my shoulder, softly. Hey, yeah? Thank you for not leaving me behind. I tightened my hand around hers. Thank you for coming back. We looked at each other and smiled. No more words were needed, because sometimes the most beautiful ending is simply this. Two people are still here, and they choose not to leave anymore.